Shall I clap?
Wait on. Go for it.
Ha ha ha. Sorry to be late.
Did you clap?
I did, I clapped. Shall I clap again, just in case? Here it is.
Sorry, did you clap? Oh, wait.
I've been clapping like a little man who's very happy.
You have
like
been?
Yes, like I'm at a small audience of one.
So you don't need to do that again?
Show. Oh, I don't know, it's always fun.
Do you want to do it again?
Yeah,
okay,
just
here we
because
go.
I like it. Okay, this is it. This is for the keeper.
What's that?
That was that. I said that's a keeper.
This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing.
I just had a text message from an unknown number, +44, etc. Based on your recent call to TV licensing, how would you rate the service you received on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is very dissatisfied and 5 is very satisfied? This is after I called them because I was getting increasingly aggressive notices about people coming round to check that I... basically a warning saying that we have now set it in process that people are going to come round and check that you don't have a TV. Or nor do you use iPlayer. And this was weeks after I'd called them to say, to make the necessary arrangements. So I'm wondering about whether I should say 1 very dissatisfied or 5 very satisfied.
It's tricky, isn't it? Because, I mean, what are they asking you to give your opinion on? How rigorous they are in their pursuit of the license fee, because in that case it's 5, or for how intrusive and rude they are, then that might be a 1. You need more context.
Just a little more context. The funny thing about it...
What's the criteria?
Yeah, exactly. And it was when I talked to the person, he said, oh yeah, there's a crossover period.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I said, how long is this crossover period? He said, well, it's a few days. And I was thinking, well, it's been 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm wondering if I will continue to get these, and I wonder what colour they get to. A little bit like the, they had to start adding colours in Australia to maps because hot didn't.
Yes, yeah.
Have we talked about that before?
We have talked about that. I just can't remember what the eventual colour.
Well, it's basically red black. It's as close to black as it's like this reddish black as.
Jiminy.
Yeah,
Jiminy.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
So
yes, I'm wondering about getting that coloured envelope from TV licensing.
Maybe it will be red-black.
Also, the thing about it is that I welcome paying a TV license fee.
I know, you've always paid your TV license. You're as do I, just for the record, anybody who's listening. I eschewed the paper copy some years ago, but I still have my TV license.
Oh, yes.
And I've never been chased by anybody.
You mean, so you've never even had that kind of letter?
No. But then I haven't moved for a long time. I wonder if yours is triggered by moving.
Oh, it's because this apartment that I'm in at the moment was empty for a month.
Ah.
And so when I got here, there was a message saying, blah, 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 blah. And so I sorted it out then and there.
Because that's who you are.
Yes, I didn't unpack any boxes until I'd sorted out the TV license. Speaking of which, I've just collapsed the final box.
Oh, was that a huge amount of satisfaction?
It is a good feeling.
Mm.
It is a good feeling. So the apartment is in some order.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm coming to you live. Well, you, not other people listening, from a different bedroom.
Oh, well, that's fascinating. Talk us through the acoustics and
so you can
the
cut this out now or later.
Well, no, because then I can tell you where I'm recording from, which is also a new space.
Oh, I don't know about the acoustics. You'll have to tell me because I'm not listening.
Yeah,
I'm not monitoring the recording. But I have the wardrobe doors open, and I'm sitting on the bed as per usual, and I have the blinds drawn. So trying to soften those hard walls, basically. So you can let me know.
I will let you know, and I will apologise now to everybody who is listening to this because I have done none of these things.
You could just you could put yourself under a blanket. You could cover yourself in a blanket.
There's absolutely no way I'm doing that. It's ferociously hot where I am, yeah. And the last thing I'm going to do is get hotter. So we are in Lisbon. Bob has been here for 3 weeks, I think. Yeah.
Wow,
she's been here for a long time.
She must be in total Lisbon mode.
She is in total Lisbon mode. There's a lot of work being done on our apartment.
In the building or your place?
In the building, although some is being done in our place as well. So the people who live next door to us are converting the loft space above us, which necessitates a certain level of structural jiggery-pokery, and they are fixing our ceiling as a result, which is very nice because there has been a problem with the ceiling, which they are putting right. Very happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be replastering the dining room and the bathroom at some point in the future.
Because the ceiling gets knocked around, so they have to replaster. Is that right?
No, it's because, and actually they don't need to do this, so I don't know why they're doing it. There was a leak in the roof, and we bought the flat with full knowledge there was a leak in the roof, and we were aware of the water damage. But the people who have bought the apartment are so appalled by the state of the roof, they want to make good on all the damage.
Wow! And are they
rich?
Portuguese?
Evidently, yes.
Rich Portuguese people. Is it Cristiano Ronaldo?
No, we do not live in the rarefied atmosphere of the kind of place where Cristiano Ronaldo would be. Although I did cycle past his apartment this morning.
Nice. Did you wave? I think he's in Manchester.
I didn't wave because I wasn't meaning to cycle past his apartment.
Oh, right. Were there other people looking outside, sort of looking in?
I don't think so. I just happen to know which block he lives in because a friend said, "Oh, Ronaldo lives there," and I found myself on that side of town. I went for a bike ride, as I do most mornings here. And you know when you're just following your nose and you're having like a high old time, just like, ooh, look at me having a pootle around, not going anywhere, but just having a ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
love
forget
that word,
you live
poodle.
Well, I was having a proper poodle. And then you forget that you live in a city that is famed for its 7 hills.
Is Lisbon mean 7 hills, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
And I actually don't think that 7 comes even close to the number of hills that it's on. There was a big earthquake in 1755.
In Lisbon. Can I say yes?
Yes, of course you can.
Yes, I was aware.
Does that mean no, you weren't?
No, I wasn't.
And would you like me to tell you something about it?
You can cut this to make it sound like I know exactly.
Okay. And I just could cut the story about the earthquake because I'm sure there's people listening going, this is the most boring thing in the world.
It's a little bit of Portuguese history.
So in 1755, on All Souls Day, so the 1st of November, there was a very large earthquake in the Atlantic Ocean, or I should say in the seabed of the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And it was close enough to have a significant and catastrophic effect on the buildings in Lisbon, which is on the Atlantic coast. So houses started to fall. People, in an understandable panic, ran out of the middle of the city down towards the river. There's an area called Praça da Comercial, or sometimes it's known as Teiro do Passo. It's got 2 names. And it's a really, really big square on the river. If you've ever been to Lisbon, you probably have been to that. On the river, as in it sort of sits directly on the river.
Right. Oh, no.
Abuts the river, if you prefer. And if you've ever been to Lisbon, you will have encountered it because it's like one of the... I was, in this instance, talking to the people listening, Simon. I know you haven't been to Lisbon, which is a continued surprise to me, given that I live here and you could go and see me, but we'll move on. It is possible to get a train but that's a separate issue.
Oh, I'm there in about 4 days.
You might just catch me. I even know which train station you come into, but that's a separate issue. Okay, Santa Polonia, which is just
So
down the hill. It's
hang
my
on,
nearest train station.
so I'd go Paris into Spain.
Yeah, you would go Paris into Spain. Basically, you do exactly that.
And
Into
stay on
Paris,
the
so
Atlantic
Eurostar.
coast.
It kind of goes. I think it goes sort of through. So it goes through France and Spain, and then into. I don't think you get anything pretty. It's kind of an inland train.
So
if
I'd
my
get
memory serves.
through Madrid, probably.
Probably you get you. There's a very nice drive that is coastal, but the train isn't coastal. In fact, the train. I'm on a train later today. I'm going to go and see my mum and dad. Because, of course, when it is, when there's
You go and land.
I was going to say, when there's a heat wave, and already the temperatures have been touching 40 in Lisbon, what you want to do is travel inland to the interior of the country where there is absolutely no breeze. My dad phoned me up and went, oh, it's 47 today.
That's red-black territory, isn't it?
That is red-black territory, yeah. Anyway, they ran to Praça da Comercial. And of course, what comes
The river.
after? There was a tsunami. Yeah, tsunami then,
tsunami.
and as if the tsunami wasn't enough, because it was All Souls Day, everybody had lit candles in churches and in their homes, and so there was an earthquake followed by a tsunami, followed by a conflagration. Not just some fires, but a conflagration. Isn't that the best word for a really horrifying thing?
Yes.
It means a meeting of fires.
Is it really? That's what it means?
Yeah, that's the original meaning of conflagration.
This is why I said yes when you said, should we start a podcast? Because because I knew my vocabulary would improve. Conflagration.
Conflagration. Anyway,
And is it used in other contexts now?
Yeah, it usually means like a big mess.
Like the government?
That would be a defining notion of a conflagration.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, as a result of the earthquake, fire and flood, 80% of the population died, 80% of the buildings were levelled.
This was 1753.
1755. Portugal went from being a global superpower to being, one of the smaller players, tiny players in the
great colonial expansion.
I was going to say, well, they'd done a significant chunk of colonial expansion by this point.
Sure had. In Brazil, must have been already.
Oh, Brazil, Guinea-Bissau, Cabo Verde, Angola. They'd taken huge chunks of Africa and the Americas. The Portuguese, for such a small nation, were ferocious in their ability to subjugate.
It was also because they were seafaring; they were incredibly good on the sea as well, right?
Yeah. They, most of their landmass, half of it faces the Atlantic, and the other half faces Spain.
I know that colonization gets a bit of a bad rap these days, but
if that was a full stop, that would be brilliant. That would be a mic drop.
It was just the butt, but I don't know what to say after that.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah, slicing and dicing the planet.
Oh, I know.
Can I express? Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to just express a little bit of disappointment.
In me, in the world.
Well, it was your edit last week.
Oh, what did I do? Or what didn't I do?
You cut out the last part where we were talking about Finn at school and homophobia, and you cut out a bit at the end where you revealed yourself. You showed your hand in a way in a very particular situation, and I
did.
I thought it was amazing, and I had this little glimmer of hope that you would keep it in, not because you don't come off particularly well in that particular moment, but also I think it was something about. I mean, you don't need to talk about it anymore. I just wanted to express disappointment, but it was just because I think revealed to me not so much about you, things about you, but also about humans, which is that each of us is so closer or further away at varying times to being versions of ourselves that that we don't really like, or maybe don't even understand. And so yeah, but I just thank you for the conversation, but no thanks for cutting it out.
Well,
I also understand why you cut it out. Also.
For listeners who didn't get the context that Simon is talking about, I was in a pub, because I can now tell the story in a way that doesn't show my underwear quite as explicitly.
Have you been practicing telling the story?
No. But I was in the telling last week and didn't think about how I could save. Oh, okay. I was in a pub with a group of friends, including a gay couple that we know in their 50s, and somebody said something homophobic, and I was appalled, and both of them sort of did the
Laughed
gentle
it off
laughing
kind
off
of thing. Yeah.
And I continued to be appalled, and then I made an easy and lazy and aggressive dig at the person who'd made the homophobic remark. I didn't do.
I mean,
what
very, very pointed and
super pointed.
Also, sort of strangely funny, but not.
I even as I was framing the riposte, which was not mine to make, and I think that's probably why even as I was saying it, I was appalled at myself.
Oh, Lee.
So I knew that it wasn't my battle, and it wasn't my space to defend, but it was out of my mouth before I'd even. It was out of my mouth because it was just. I find sometimes, and this is the thing that you just said, Simon, about versions of ourselves that we don't like.
Or don't understand, or that don't seem to sit with our... Yeah.
No, I understand this version of myself, and it sits very, very well with who I know myself to be. The reason I cut it out was because I couldn't have left the conversation in without explicitly negotiating what I said, and what I said
it was quite violent
offensive.
In a way, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And even though I would have been perfectly happy to mind the shame with you, I didn't think that there was any value in giving any airtime to what was said, because it was cruel.
Yeah. No, I understand. I really understand that. But I do. Yeah, which I'll repeat myself in the sense that it was because also it just showed the ways in which each of us in different circumstances at different times we reveal our hands in very particular ways, and I wasn't thinking about it in terms of shame or at all, but much more kind of a vulnerability. But perhaps vulnerability and shame are tightly linked in moments like that. I
don't know. I'm okay. Well, I didn't feel vulnerable. I didn't feel talking about it. I felt ashamed. I mean, I don't mind being vulnerable. I don't mind sort of talking about things that make me feel uncomfortable or small. It made me feel, in the moment of saying it and after the fact, it made me feel aggressive, violent, and unkind. All things I know I absolutely can be.
As can we all.
Yeah. It just feels like it's a thing that comes easily to me. So I've tried quite hard over the years to avoid those. I don't really like bitching. I don't really like that kind of gossipy thing that happens, and I sometimes find myself in it with people who I care about, talking about people who have hurt them. And even in those moments, I'm listening to myself and going, this doesn't feel right. Yeah, which is I guess my version of you sitting on the fence.
Yeah,
but I don't do it with strangers.
Yeah,
I'm okay with strangers.
Yeah, it's really. Well, two things come up. One is I just want to put a pin or a flag in
Put a pin if we're going to come back to it.
Thank you, in gossip, because I think there's something there that's fascinating. But yeah, the sitting on the fence thing is in partly because I can't remember how much I've said to you or I've told you the sort of sense of my mother's experience of my father was because he couldn't sit on the fence ever. And that basically it was in their little town. They lived in a little town. This is Masterton, New Zealand, and it had less than 20,000 people. And he was the only vet in town.
Right.
This is a country town. So, and like many country towns, tending towards quite conservative political values. And so anyone who had a problem with their animals, domestic and farm, you might say, I know they're domesticated, but it was quite a role in a small town, you might say, in a town that was its primary kind of source of income was dairy farming. Mum used to talk about how they basically left a trail of dinner parties that houses they could never go back to because of my father, Ian Graham Ellis, not being able to sit on the fence. That he would ruin many a dinner party by not letting things pass, not letting things go. So that was his kind of modus operandi in any kind of a conversation, but mostly about politics, that he would just he wouldn't be able to let things pass, and so I really admired him and also admired that value or that ability, but it also left me, I think, slightly scarred by the possibility of ruining dinner parties, which I tended to do at a much younger age as well. When we were just testing out what a dinner party was, I had a real tendency to go a little far, you might say. So that's I think a lot of that is that sitting on the fence is going, you know what, there are other ways of thinking about this, but yeah.
That's next door.
I was going to say, I was thinking, what, Jeffrey? But no.
No, that is... Okay. So this is the downside of people doing work. I might just see if I can find somewhere that's slightly less bangy. Wait. Okay, no. Let's see. Maybe that was just a slight moment.
I just love the idea of you editing out the bangs. You can... I can
might be
talking.
leaving them in.
I can... I'm just trying to think of editing out the bangs, editing around the bangs, and Americans will be thinking, what, haircuts and fringes?
I think I'm tempted to leave the bangs in because I need to say that the guys who are doing the work, I have never met a more thoughtful and gracious group of men working together.
These are the builders, you mean?
The builders, they are so... I am just going to move.
If I squint my ears, it sounds a little bit like you're sitting there in front of a microphone whacking your belly with gusto. I'm whacking my belly now. Which because I'm assuming you're shirtless.
I'm actually not shirtless, and I'm cutting this out. I am pantless.
Wait,
I'm fully naked from the waist down.
You're toddlering.
I love to toddle.
But are you standing or sitting?
I am standing.
Oh, okay.
You'll be pleased
if you
with
were
the
sitting
furniture.
toddling, that would be a bit weird.
It would be, wouldn't it? No, I am sitting. The opposite. I'm standing with my... I'm not sure that any of this is good impression. I am, yeah. I'm going to gently... Let's see if I can gently find a place that is... Oh, I'm walking more towards it. All right,
oh, wow, that's louder.
Yeah, it is louder, isn't it? Let me just... Oh.
Why don't you why don't you go up there and express a little bit of aggression in English, something pointed and sharp and witty?
I won't do any of those things because I think actually they're hammering in the ceiling space, so I can't get away from it. There is absolutely... Whoa! This is... Wow!
This is
Okay.
podcasting gold, let me tell you.
Next time on midlifing.
So yes, this is to pick up something that we got to at the end of 2 episodes ago, 80, I don't know, 88, something like that. And my father was weeks from death, and I remember I was taking him to the hospital for some radiation therapy, actually. He said, about insert name of ex-girlfriend, you're quite serious, aren't you? And he just said to me that I don't think this person, she's a good choice for you.